afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Downtime. Before we continue, can I get a sound check? Is my sound, am I getting an echo, or is everything all right? Just anyone in the audience who's listening. I have reason to, there's a possibility of an echo, and I have no way of checking, so hopefully those of you in the audience can tell me if you're getting an echo. Sounds fine. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. Tropical Storm Melissa has turned into a Category 1 hurricane. Now, a Category 1 hurricane, I live in New England. We get hurricanes all the time. We get nor'easters. We're reasonably used to it. And so you'd think it's not necessarily a problem. However, the waters of the Caribbean are warmer than usual, and we all know why. There are states in the United States, in this country, where I actually would not be allowed to say why. I'm not kidding. There are laws that say that I cannot say that this is caused by global warming when everybody knows that it is. This is not how responsible adults act. This is not how responsible countries act. And yet, nonetheless, here we are writing laws saying that you cannot blame global warming. Having said that, the water is warmer than it's ever been at this time of year, and not only that, but the depth of that warmth is deeper than it's ever been. This is going to cause a phenomenon which has happened before, but has never happened so frequently and has now become a regular occurrence, which is a dramatic and sudden intensification of a hurricane. So hurricanes do gain power over time, many times, depending on the barometric pressure and the temperature of the water, but we've never seen it happen so rapidly so many times, where over the course of a day you can go from a Cat 1 to a Cat 4 or even a Cat 5. But we've all seen that now repeatedly over the last couple of years. So this is expected to, over the course of a day, turn into a Cat 4 or even a Cat 5. I'm hoping we've got the projection map. Do we have the projection map? No, it wants to be a pain in the neck with the projection map. I think I can get us that for you right now. Give me a second. By the end of Sunday, it's expected to reach pretty close to the full strength that it's going to be and strike Jamaica by either Sunday or possibly Monday. Now, there's going to be a couple of problems with this that you don't normally see in a hurricane. The biggest first problem, the temperature is, again, higher than it's ever been, so we're expecting as strong a hurricane, just about as strong as they've ever seen. The last hurricane to strike that was this hard struck in, I believe it was 1988, and was a record-breaking storm, did more damage than any that had ever struck Jamaica. At this point, they're expecting this storm to be close to equal, if not in excess of that one, meaning that this would be the most dangerous and damaging storm ever to strike Jamaica. Again, they don't know that it's going to get that bad, but it certainly has the potential. The causes: A, the increase in temperature; B, the speed at which this thing is moving. It's moving slowly. Now, most people, your initial thoughts, it's moving slowly. Well, great. No, that's actually a really bad thing. And the reason it's a bad thing is because that means it stays over the inhabited areas longer. When it hits Jamaica, instead of staying over Jamaica for hours, it is expected to stay over Jamaica for days. This means days of hurricane winds, days of hurricane rain, none of which Jamaica is prepared for. Jamaica is prepared for a Category 5 strike. They know that those are possible, but they're not prepared for rain that lasts for days. And one of the problems is that Jamaica has a lot of mountains, and the mountains take those rains, and instead of the rain getting absorbed into and I believe the earth isn't going to be able to absorb that kind of rain anyway, but instead of it at least being absorbed, it hits the mountains and then runs down and creates massive flooding very, very quickly. This is one of the things that happened in Texas. Now, Hurricane Harvey struck Texas in 2022. Harvey was one of the slower moving hurricanes that we had seen in about 100 years. And so when it hit Texas, it wasn't the wind that did the damage. What did the damage to Texas was that the hurricane stalled over Texas and then just stayed there and did this. This is Texas after Hurricane Harvey. So much of the land here, now there weren't any mountains, but what there was asphalt. There was a city, and in the areas of that city, the water can't get absorbed into the ground. Now, they have a system to get rid of excess water. They've got spillways and so on and so forth, but it wasn't designed to have a hurricane sitting on it for a day, which is what Harvey did. Well, this is another picture of, and you can see those are elevated highways, and some of them are completely submerged. 12 to 20 feet of water. Now, Harvey actually only dumped 4 feet of water total, but it was 4 feet of water in one day. Imagine getting 4 feet of water in one day, and because the land couldn't absorb it, all the low-lying areas got between 12 and 20 feet of water. That's where all the runoff went. Again, this is Texas. And this is Harvey, which is at present expected to be less damaging than Hurricane Melissa, which is about to strike the Caribbean. This is what Harvey did. Now, I would like to point out, and this is just because it's a pet peeve of mine. Well, it's not that it's a pet peeve. I think it's important for people to understand. Harvey, so Hurricane Katrina, a lot of different reasons why that caused as much damage as it did. But Pat Robertson came out and made it crystal clear that Hurricane Katrina was caused by gays. That was the cause of the hurricane. This, and the cause of all the damage. The cause of this damage, according to Pat Robertson, was low barometric pressure. Now, I don't know how to differentiate hurricanes caused by gays and hurricanes caused by low barometric pressure. Pat Robertson is dead, so we have no idea why Jamaica's about to get hit, but we're going to go with the low barometric pressure theory. And, either that or, in my view, the reason that all this happened was because Texas voted for Trump. I think if Pat Robertson gets to say Katrina happened because you're gay, I'm going to say Harvey happened because Texas voted for Trump. And I haven't seen any reason to accept one theory over the other, so mine's just as valid as his. At any rate, this is going to be, I think, yet another example of a record storm, and we're getting record 1 in 100-year storms every other year now. Everybody listening to this understands understands how science works, and B, understands, I think, how the science of global warming works. So I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but the reality is Jamaica is about to, it looks like, is about to pay the price for the U.S. and a number of industrialized countries, and now especially the U.S., really not caring about the impact that we're having. And, well, it's not that we don't care. It's that we care more about corporate interests and the money that there is to be made by selling our future out. So Basically, if we were to do the marshmallow test, where somebody would say, "Hey, I'll give you a marshmallow today, or two marshmallows tomorrow, which would you prefer?" The United States would have already eaten the entire bag, eaten all of the marshmallows without actually opening the bag first before the question was finished being asked. So Jamaica is in a state of emergency. They are preparing for record rain. This is a life-threatening situation. Again, and I know I just showed this, but what caused the damage in Texas was not the winds. It was the fact that it was a slow-moving storm. Melissa is moving at 1 mile per hour. That's the speed it's moving at. The last hurricane to hit Florida, which was a bad one, a lot of winds, we covered it. We covered the damage. We showed our audience what was going on. It took about 4 hours for the bulk of the storm to get through Florida. This will take over a day. The time that this hurricane will be over Jamaica will be measured in days, not hours. It will be days of rain and days of hurricane force winds, either Category 4 or Category 5. We don't know yet. That is astonishing. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And obviously, if anybody listening to this is in that area, absolutely heed the warnings. Again, I come from New England. I've ignored just about every hurricane warning I've ever gotten. But the reason is, New England, we've got mountains, we've got ways to protect, and where you live, you know where you live. Jamaica, it's going to work against them, and Jamaica, this is serious. This is extraordinarily serious. So, we will keep an eye on it. It's expected to hit again tomorrow or Monday. It's moving so slowly, again, 1 mile per hour, and what you're going to have is a lot of times when we were covering Florida, we were concerned about the storm surge, and if the high tide hit at the same time as the hurricane, you were going to have one hell of a problem. At first, it was expected that it would strike at the same time, but the speed changed, and it turned out not to. This was a saving grace for Florida, which still received a huge amount of damage, and you could find boats, just actual boats, on land 2, 3, 4, 5 miles inland. Having said that, because this is going to be over Jamaica for more than 25 hours, actually, well, it's 12 hours to go from one tide to the other. So it's going to be there during the high tide. So you will get at least one, if not two, high tide storm surges. And the second one will be after a minimum of 12 hours worth of rain being poured onto, actually, well, no, that will be 24. Yeah, that was off by one error. So 24 hours of rain being poured into the area. That we're looking at what has the potential to be the most damaging storm ever to strike Jamaica. And Haiti is still recovering from both the last storm and the earthquake that they had a few years back. Haiti is just, I guess Pat Robertson would say they have a lot of gay people in Haiti. I am so glad he's not around anymore. I'm just going to say that. So that's where we stand. We will keep you all abreast of that, but Melissa was just recently upgraded from a tropical storm to a hurricane. We were expecting that. The track has changed. It looks like it is going to hit Jamaica, and at this point, every I was going to say climatologist. I forget what they're called when they study the weather, but at any point, every major institute, including the Oceanographic Institute, which I was delighted to hear is still operating despite having all its funding pulled and Trump not liking it. This is why do we need Noah? I mean, really. Speaking of, and I wanted to point this out before we go. In Time has been making a number of inquiries to the White House. We have not been hearing back. One of our researchers did manage to contact a staffer who is holed up meteorologist. That is correct. It's a meteorologist. I can't believe. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that, Arthur. One of the staffers who is currently working out of a spare office in the residence. I think she's in the boiler room or something, but who was willing to get back to us, and the news is bad. The presidential Sharpie, as it turns out, was last seen being taken by a staffer into the east wing of the White House. We don't know if the Sharpie has survived. This hurricane is not expected to hit the U.S. directly, but without the Sharpie, there's no real way to know. Certainly, science isn't going to be used by this administration to find out. So we are trying to find out the status of the presidential Sharpie. We have heard that recovery efforts are underway right now in the rubble of the East Wing to recover that Sharpie and protect us from hurricanes in the... Wait, what? The hurricane was going to miss us? And then Trump used the Sharpie to put it into Alabama? Oh, well, it's Alabama. I don't... Okay. All right. We still want the Sharpie found, though, right? I mean, he can change hurricanes. Okay. We hear they're looking for the Sharpie. If we find it, or if Trump finds it, we will let you know. It was last seen in the East Wing. Odds are not good. Anyways, thank you all for joining us, despite the little levity aside at Trump's expense, and it's been my experience that's never a wrong thing. The Jamaica problem really is... the hurricane Melissa hitting Jamaica is quite possibly going to be the largest, most damaging hurricane ever to hit them, and what that means for damage just to a civilized or a populated area as hurricanes are getting worse. Again, we showed you the pictures of Texas, and that was in 2022. That was not that long ago. They're getting worse. They're getting worse quickly, and the damage is getting impossible to manage by modern standards. We like to think that we can build cities to... Texas wasn't designed for that, and Jamaica was not designed to handle the amount of rain it's about to get. They were ready for a Cat 5, but not one that sits on them for 48 hours. So we will see, and we will keep you abreast of that and ongoing news regarding the US government shutdown. Like I said, right now, there was a track earlier that had this possibly hitting the east coast of the United States. At this point, we believe the east coast will get a storm surge, but the east coast is not going to be directly affected by this hurricane. So it is entirely possible that the Sharpie was found and has already been used by the forces of good. Anyways, thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern for In Time, and or for any other breaking news. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you later. Take care.